Hello everybody, and this week I've been having a little bit of a tinker around with The Vanishing of Ethan Carter on PS4. He vanished. So can I please get an intro now? So, The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, the 2014 game released by Polish devs known as The Astronauts. And I know it sounds like I'm a year late, but actually, the game came out for the first time on PS4 not too long ago, and that's when I decided to try it out after hearing lots of good things about it. Ethan Carter isn't the easiest game to talk about because of the kind of game that it is, and while playing it, coming up with all these ideas for a solid script proved to be very challenging, but I'll try my hardest to get through it, starting with the story. The story involves a boy named Ethan Carter, who then vanishes. That's all folks, I'll be around all week. Okay, that's not all what the story's about. Basically, there is Ethan Carter and he does indeed vanish. And in desperation after his vanishing, he writes a fan letter to a paranormal investigator to try and find him, known as Paul Prospero. Paul receives this letter and then decides to head towards this Pennsylvania town known as Red Creek to try and track him down and solve the mystery. This sounds extremely lame and dull and predictable, yes, but it isn't, and I wish I could dissect more of this game's story for you today, but I really can't do that because it will spoil everything. It will be a discredit to the experience here. The story is incredibly engaging, non-linear, and multi-genre, jumping back and forth gracefully in between everything you can imagine, such as mystery drama 1 minute, and then detective thriller the next minute, and then even paranormal Lovecraftian horror in the next bit. It's crazy. But it goes through all these genres seamlessly and very interestingly. The game covers so many themes throughout its runtime, such as imagination, isolation, segregation, religion, and even utter desolation and desperation and hopelessness. It also has one motherfucker of a depressing ending, which many people may see as slightly weak or anticlimactic, but what I saw as beautifully dark and sorrowful and very, very tragic, and it did send shivers up my spine towards the ending credits. Characters that you interact with, even though dissonant in the way that they're presented through the non-linear story, and honestly not that presented at all through the whole game, are still all memorable in the screen time that they do get, and they all wrap around the plot perfectly. The dynamic narrative is also fantastically complemented by the presentation, and how phenomenal it is. Visually, it's utterly gorgeous and scarily realistic, and I feel very, very bad for squashing it in this bloody fake TV to my left, but wow, I've never wanted to experience a game in VR quite like Ethan Carter before. Voice acting is solid and music is also brilliant, with specific themes and instrumentation matching specific and certain themes and moods and situations in the story, such as eerie Latin choirs whenever you uncover the more gothic and supernatural elements of the game, and then beautifully calm and serene piano pieces whenever you're exploring the dense and large amount of forest areas. And it does create one of the most atmospheric games I've ever played in my life that demands that you wear headphones, seriously. The visuals also help out with the main gameplay mechanic of exploration and discovery. Now, to be fair, this game is a very slow one and not one I can recommend to absolutely everybody. It's a puzzle game that is basically entirely centered around exploration. When you start the game up, that's pretty much what the game tells you off the bat. It's a puzzle, narrative-driven game that does not hold your hand. And the game is not lying about that. There's no hint boxes, no tutorial, no guidelines, no GPS or anything. You're basically just let loose from the second you start to try and work everything out. And half the time you won't even realise what kind of puzzle you're solving until you're in the middle of it. Most of the puzzles in this game are all centered around spatial awareness and memory. Whether it be you looking through a dimensional rift to see where a particularly special hidden item is located, or going into the middle of a decrepit and desolate house and looking through all these phantom doorways and swapping the rooms around within the house to try and match another house that you were exploring across the road that you might not have even known was there until you had a look around for it. Even though you are given these hints right in front of your face, nothing in the game notes it down, nothing in the game gives you an idea of how everything fits together. You just need to use logic and your memory of the surrounding area to figure out what the hints mean and how to apply them to the puzzle. The main bulk of the puzzles in this game involve you going through all these different crime scenes and finding specific items to reconstruct these crime scenes, and then after you've done with all of that stuff, you can then reconstruct the entire events in order with these specific ghosts lying around the place. By using your interdimensional hints, you can see where certain certain objects are lying, but like I said, the game gives you no indication of where you're actually looking. You've got to use your memory, you've got to know the area perfectly. And even though it's not that difficult to figure out where these hints are pointing you towards, it does make you feel much smarter than most other pick-up and place puzzle games out there, because you are given no objective marker or anything boring like that. You are left to your own devices and you feel smart for having no direction. And even though these main bulk of the puzzles get pretty by the books as you go on and dissect how they all work, and then they become pretty simple to solve towards the end of the game, they're still pretty damn refreshing for puzzle games like this, especially for the lack of direction. Not to mention they are very enjoyable to figure out, and sometimes the game will throw a pretty tricky curveball at you to keep you awake. Another large part of these crime reconstruction puzzles is the bit afterwards, when you have to supernaturally actually reconstruct these events in order of what things happened at what points, using all these different ghosts spread around the map. And again, you have to use memory and logic and what you've dissected and learnt about the plot in order to figure out what goes where. Even though these puzzles again are fun to solve and they do make you feel smart for pretty much making the plot happen without any direction at all, unfortunately, there's no fail state to them at all. And once you're done tagging all the orders of ghosts around the place and then you hit the button to play the event out, the game is very, very quick to tell you what does fit and what doesn't fit. And due to how quickly the game does tell you how you've got things correct or wrong, that means these puzzles can be easily exploited. This does slightly pull you out of the monumental atmosphere if you don't really know the correct order of a crime, because you'll find yourself, if you have no idea whatsoever, haphazardly tagging all of the different ghosts around the place and just hoping that you get it right. And because there's no pauses and no punishment whatsoever for getting it wrong, then what's stopping you from just doing it as many times as you want to until you get it right? It's very quick and easy to do that. Luckily, this isn't a common occurrence compared to how well the other puzzles lay themselves out for you, but one thing the game does do brilliantly is its exploration and how free it makes you feel. You think it's going to be all linear and pretty predictable until you realise you can go right back to the beginning of the game at any point that you want, and the game will give you no reason to not go back to the beginning of the game. As you solve more puzzles towards the end of the game, you can link different ends of the town together, making both exploring the town and the story itself feel more cohesive. It's a shame that there's nothing really additional to find apart from the main puzzles, which means that the exploration element isn't fully realised. But goodness gracious, I don't care about that too much because of the oh so pretty visuals, and you know what? Just sightseeing in this game is worth it. I'm not even joking, it's that pretty. So go and make some screensavers if you want to explore a little bit more. Since exploration and discovery is the main driving force behind Ethan Carter, what I really loved in this game was the way that whenever you uncovered a new part of the map, it really did make you feel like you were the first person to discover what you've just found when the relative music theme kicks in relative to what you find anyway. And an example of this is when I first saw the church on top of the hill through the dense amount of forests and everything, I felt like, wow, I've found something that hasn't been touched for centuries, even if that isn't the case in the story. It feels spectacular and it really pulls you out of reality and throws you into the world that this game has crafted. And honestly, even if you go into this thinking, well, obviously, some kind of civilization had to live here because there are buildings here, so I'm not going to feel like I'm the first person to discover it. Well, the whole past of the town and people living in it and everything, that's kind of part of the plot. I'll say no more. You won't feel like that, I promise you. But yes, the game is atmospheric as fuck. One of the most atmospheric I've ever played. Oftentimes I got completely lost inside this universe and time just went by so quickly and I didn't even realise. And there were even some parts of this game that were unbelievably unsettling. One part of the game in particular, which I won't spoil, actually made me jump out of my skin because of how drawn in I was at that point of the game, and how the build-up between the dialogue and the music suited that moment absolutely perfectly, and it just culminates into this just what the fuck? This is a game where the plot does indeed carry it through, and combine that with the enjoyable puzzle solving and directionless gameplay, it really does make you feel like a paranormal detective, even though there aren't as many consequences or different fail states or different decisions to make, like in LA Noire for instance. But yes, even if the visuals, music and gameplay don't interest you that much, I would recommend this game for the story alone and the way that the narrative unfolds itself. It's very good. I'd also recommend experiencing this game in one sitting since it isn't too long, and, well, you won't be able to leave the universe once you've stepped into it, and also, the save system is very unclear and not, well, it is unclear. It doesn't really tell you when or what it's saved, so yeah, I would recommend as well doing it in one sitting, but you will thank me for that. And so, after tinkering around with The Vanishing of Ethan Carter on PS4, I'd have to give the game a hearty commendable. It's a very, very good game for what it does, but it's not completely amazing. It's a great experience that's condensed and restrained in such a format that it allows you to fully experience it and draw you in one sitting, and I love it when games can do that. And it never fails to be extremely investing with both the plot and the amazing production value. But, along with all the constructive points I mentioned in this video, yeah, the game isn't too amazing and it isn't too new. But hey, for the prices that it's going for, yes, I would highly recommend this game, especially if you do like what you've seen so far. You will probably love it if you like what you've seen. Farewell everybody, and until next time, take care. Hello everyone, and thanks so much for staying until the end of this video, and just in case you're wondering, I have a little treat for you for getting this far because you're just so amazing, and that is with this site that I'm partnered with called the Pixel Empire. And the Pixel Empire are a fucking awesome site, an amazing site, full of high quality, glossy wall prints of all your favorite movies, favorite TV shows, and favorite games. There are so many awesome designs on there. If you go onto the website, order anything, and use the coupon code CADDY in big caps, you get 15% off any order. It's also worth mentioning that for a limited time only, this amazing bundle here of all these incredible designs, yes, this is all in one package, is now on a limited half price off sale. It's great, and I really do think I should let you know about this because, oh my god, it's half price. Look at these. And anything that you do on that site is supporting my channel, so it's another way you can show your support if you'd like to. So thanks for listening, and thanks for checking this out. If you like this video, please consider sharing, commenting, leaving a like, because it helps my channel out amazing amounts, and it also lets you know when I make videos all the time, and it helps me keep my schedule up, because if people don't interact, then I won't have anyone to make videos for, so it's kind of important. But other than that, go in the description to find all this exciting stuff, including my Games Grabber collection, so you can see what games I have on my shelves. And of course, if it's your birthday or watching this video, happy friggin' birthday to you, and please remember to stay beautiful. Visually, it's utterly gorgeous and scarily realistic, and I feel very bad for sticking it in a compressed TV screen. Oh, I forgot the fucking script. Yes, I highly recommend that you at least try this game, if what you see here looks...